Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Live on this Wednesday, September the 18th, 2024. How's everybody doing as we get you set for the weekend? That's right. The week's all downhill from here now with the weekend coming up and another big slate of college football games. And of course, the NFL getting into week 3. It's going to be some great matchups of 2-0 teams that maybe we didn't think were 0-2 or 2-0. And we'll also talk about some of the surprising 0-2 teams in the NFL through a couple of weeks. It's a crazy, crazy week or a crazy year of NFL. As we mentioned, week 2 highly unpredictable. It's crazy. Parity is starting to set in already. I know it's only a couple of weeks, but hey, still, it's crazy what these first couple of weeks have brought us. Who would have thought the New Orleans Saints would be taking on Dallas in Dallas and putting a can of whoop ass, opening that up on them so badly, scoring on their first 6 possessions, touchdowns on their first 6 possessions, putting a 44 spot on Dallas. And you got to wonder in Big D, again, I know it's early in this year in 2024, but we see them early and often in the last few games over the last year. They take a gut punch in the first quarter. It's like they fold their tent and decide to wait to play another day. Well, they're not going to be able to do that unless the NFC East is going to be as as stagnant as it is. What happened to Philadelphia on Monday night, giving up that last that last minute drive to Atlanta? Kirk Cousins proving that maybe he can win in prime time on a Monday night. He took the ball and went all the way down the field and getting Darnell Mooney on that touchdown. So congratulations to the Falcons. All of a sudden, they're back to 1-1. So yeah, a lot of crazy things. Tampa Bay taking care of Detroit in Detroit. A couple of coaching gaffes by the Lions. Dan Campbell owned up to it, but wondering what he was doing there right before the end of the first half on that botched attempt for a field goal as all of a sudden they look like they didn't know what they were doing out there. So, yeah, some very, very unpredictable football in the NFL in week 2. The Ravens 0-2, losing to the Las Vegas Raiders, giving up a 10-point lead. Oy vey. I don't know, man. It is wildly crazy out there. We'll take a look at that. We'll give you our we'll go through the top 10. We'll give you the Captain Lou Extravagant 6 in the NFL as well a little bit later on in the show. And, of course, it is week number 4 of the Captain Lou 6-pack challenge. And I got to tell you, you got to strike while the iron's hot. I had such a poor week last week, 1-4-1. That Philadelphia game cost me. I probably would have lost that one anyways, but I ended up with a push there. I ended up pushing on Friday night, but I'll tell you, it's ridiculous. 1-4-1. So yeah, what are you going to do, right? I'll tell you, it's 5-12-1 right now on the season. And again, this is what I tell everybody every year. If you want to get in on the drawing, these are the weeks to get me because I get hot towards the end of the year. Then I'm pretty unbeatable. I'm hoping to keep that trend going a little bit later on. My pocketbook does too, as I'm losing too many rent payments, if you will. That's what I like to call them anyways, my $10 rent payments. So anyways, the Captain Lou 6-pack challenge will be coming up a little bit later on as well. Hopefully I can get back on track. If not, it's good news for you. If you could beat me on the games that I pick a little bit later on against the spread, 3 college and 3 pro, you're going to be in the drawing for some great prizes. We've got a $100 Visa gift card we're giving away at the end of the year, and we've got some more prizes to announce coming up in October and November. So it's going to be great. This is the 4th year we've done it here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza, and it's been a lot of fun doing it, and can't wait to keep it going here this year. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit later on. Hey, a reminder, check out our website, 12ouncesports.com, for an archive version as well as our YouTube channels. We had the season 9 premiere last night of the ACHA Power Play here on 12 Ounce Sports. Dave Kurtz, the director of hockey operations for the ACHA, was our featured guest. We had great conversation with Dave as the season has kicked off. The road to St. Louis in 2025, the 33rd year of the ACHA. It's getting bigger and better every year. very competitive non-NCAA varsity hockey here in North America, United States, and Canada. So again, check that program out. It's archived on our YouTube channels and, of course, 12ouncesports.com. So a lot going on with that. And again, we'll take a look at Major League Baseball. It's getting crazy now. The Tigers, our Detroit Tigers, are now a game and a half out behind the Twins, only 3 behind Kansas City, and I think only 5 behind Baltimore for the number 1 wild card spot. Tigers got Tariq Skubal going tonight, so it's going to be they took the first 2 from Kansas City, then they go to Baltimore for 3. They took 2 out of 3 from the Orioles. Detroit 79 and 73. Who would have thought? A month ago, Detroit was 10 games out of the wild card. Not even a month ago. I think 3.5 weeks ago, Detroit was 10 games out of the wild card. They've made up 8.5 games in that stretch. There's 10 games to go. 1 more with Kansas City, 3 with Baltimore, 3 with, I think, Tampa Bay, and 3 with the White Sox. So Detroit's got a 6-game homestand to close out the year. They do have to finish ahead of Kansas City and Minnesota, though, because those 2 teams do have the tiebreaker if it comes down to one of those teams fighting with the Tigers for that last playoff spot. So, in essence, Detroit is still 2.5 out of the wild card. But like I said, in the middle of August or the beginning of August, we were talking about trade deadline moves, and all of a sudden the Tigers they've got the best record since the trade deadline of everybody in Major League Baseball. And they've got, without a doubt, in my opinion, the Cy Young Award winner going today, Tariq Skubal. If Skubal doesn't win the American League Cy Young Award, then something's just not right in this in baseball world. But we'll go through the standings. We'll give you all the scenarios as we head into the second to last weekend of Major League Baseball. Then we'll get into the playoffs. And I know we'll have our baseball expert, Brent Radletsky, coming up in a couple of weeks to go over the baseball scenarios as we head into the opening round of the playoffs. They're coming up, like I said, a couple of weeks from now. We'll be doing wild card week, and it's getting there. And October is right around the corner, which means we're also knee deep in NHL talk. The NHL season will be starting in about 3 weeks, I believe, 3 or 4 weeks. The Detroit Red Wings, they were able to sign Lucas Raymond to an extension on Monday, 8 years, $8.15 million per, right around $65 million. So Lucas Raymond, a big signing for the Red Wings. They still have to work on Mo Seider, getting him signed up. I think training camp for the Red Wings starts tomorrow up in Traverse City. So that's one that Detroit is still looking to do. They get Mo Seider signed, they'll be all set to go as they look to try to get back to the playoffs. It's been a long time for the Red Wings, just as it's been a long time for the Detroit Tigers, both teams with droughts dating back to the middle of the last decade. So after some long playoff runs, especially for the Red Wings, 25 straight years now, they've gone 8 straight without making the playoffs, and they are so close. We'll talk more about them as we get closer to the regular season start for the NHL. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we'll dive into week 2 of the NFL season. We'll go through each division as we did last week, kind of give you a synopsis and a look ahead. We'll talk about the injury updates for some of the major players, and of course, a benching already of a quarterback in the National Football League. I think you know who it is, but we'll talk about that as well. You're watching the Captain Lou Extravaganza. It's live here on 12 Ounce Sports and our live 24/7 channel, Dingo TV, channel 217. We'll be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them. Yeah. Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
That's right. Thanks, Jeff. We are indeed your ticket broker, 12ouncesports.com/tickets. Why pay some of those exorbitant fees that you see on these other places for your tickets? Week 3 of the NFL season coming up. If you're going to be in Baltimore at Camden Yards, you want to go watch the Tigers and the Orioles, both teams fighting for playoff position. The Orioles pretty much have it locked. They're not 100% in, but they're darn close, trying to catch the Yankees, although they're falling further and further back. But anyways, you want to go there. They've got great seats left there. College football, the big house, Michigan and USC, one of the matchups of two ranked teams we'll talk about a little bit later on. Go to tickets or go to 12ouncesports.com/tickets or tickets.12ouncesports.com. Use the promo code 12ounce as well, and we'll get you set up, and you'll get some great seats to all those games. And of course, they are your source as well coming up for the NHL. As we mentioned, they're going to start in about 3 to 4 weeks, dropping the puck on the regular season. That's tickets.12ouncesports.com. All right, we talked about it. The NFL Week 2, wildly unpredictable. Parity setting in already after a couple of weeks. Some divisions are all knotted up at 1-1. Some, we've got one, I think the NFC or the AFC South. Houston's already got a 2-game lead after 2 weeks. Just crazy week, a crazy couple of weeks of the NFL. And I got to tell you, this is what it's all about. A lot of exciting finishes, a lot of surprises. So, hey, let's start talking about it. Week 2. Let's start with the NFC North. Hey, the Minnesota North Stars, Minnesota Vikings. They hosted the San Francisco 49ers. That was a game. Minnesota had, I think they were 4 or 5 point underdogs in that game. Crazy pick. And Minnesota won that one outright, obviously. 97-yard touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson. The 49ers lose Deebo Samuel. They didn't have Christian McCaffrey in already. He's on the IR now with his Achilles issues. At least 4 weeks for him, if not more. Minnesota all of a sudden with a resurgence of Sam Darnold. I'll tell you, he's got some talent around him. But again, now they're banged up are the Vikings. Who knows if Jefferson's going to be available for week 3. They're going to take on Houston at home in week 3, a battle of 2-0 teams. That's going to be an amazing game there on Sunday. We're going to keep an eye on that one as well. So Minnesota starting out 2-0 with that resurgence. Hey, Malik Willis got the nod for Green Bay. Can you believe that against the Indianapolis Colts? Well, we knew he was going to play. We just weren't sure, how that was going to come out. But, hey, he led him to victory. Even though his center puked all over him or puked on the football on that one play, he was able to overcome that, and the Indianapolis Colts and the Packers are 1-1. That's a big win for Green Bay. They're gonna have maybe another couple of weeks without Jordan Love. If they can survive that, if they can stay right around 2-2 maybe, or 2-3 or 3-2 without Jordan Love, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the NFC North. And I'm telling you, that's going to be one of the more premier divisions in football. It's starting to look like that, especially in the NFC. They may have to arm wrestle the NFC South, but it's looking pretty formidable. The Bears, Sunday night against Houston. Caleb Williams still hasn't thrown a touchdown pass. He's getting acclimated. I know he's making some crazy decisions. How much slack do you give him? He really doesn't have a whole lot to work with. I get it. He came in much ballyhooed as the number 1 overall pick. He got a win last week against the Tennessee Titans only because the Titans just spit the bit, to say the least, in giving them a comeback win with a special teams touchdown and a defensive touchdown for the Bears. This week they go into Houston. Keep it kind of close, only lose by 6. But Houston's for real. I'm telling you, they're one of the better teams right now in the NFL, and it's with that young talent meshing with some of the old talent. They're gonna be a tough out. So Houston taking care of Chicago and Detroit and Tampa. We touched on it a little bit at the beginning of the show. Detroit, that's a game that I think, obviously they could have won. And, Aiden Hutchinson, 4.5 sacks in that game. He's got 5.5 on the year already. What a game that he had. Detroit with some mental breakdowns on the offensive side, coaching. No doubt about it. I got to give credit to Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield looked great. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but he looked good. A touchdown through the air, touchdown with his legs. And, they got heat on Goff just enough, but Detroit still had that one. Can't understand what they did in the second half. Sometimes Detroit gets too cute. They were lucky enough to get that fake punt for a first down. Then it got down towards halftime, and they had a mental gaffe, a mental breakdown. I don't know what the hell happened in that game against Tampa, but it cost them. A field goal there. It's easy to look back on that. That being said, it's a young season. Nobody's going to go 17-0. That's why sometimes you take these starts of these regular seasons with a grain of salt. These are two good teams. Detroit will be there still. Tampa's looking very good. They exacted some revenge from last year's playoff loss to Detroit. So give Tampa credit. Detroit's 1-1. They travel to Arizona on Sunday afternoon. That's going to be an interesting matchup. So many great games. Let's go to all right, we'll go to the NFC South. I was going to segue to the NFC West, but since we've got the graphic up, how about that Monday Night Football game? With Atlanta and Philadelphia. Just kind of a crazy game. I didn't watch much of it. I saw the highlights. I kind of zipped through it, fast forwarded through it. Philadelphia, they're a head scratching team. All right. They've got the talent. At least you would think so. I know they're a little bit thin on the offensive line now with Jason Kelce retiring. I get all that, but they're not devoid of talent. They got Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith right now. I know A.J. Brown is out, but obviously their defense a little suspect. And we'll give Kirk Cousins his flowers. He didn't look very good, obviously, against Pittsburgh. That tells you how good Pittsburgh's defense is. And they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. It looks like, again, their offense isn't the greatest. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on, but give Atlanta the credit. Kirk Cousins went right down the field with, in under a minute, found Darnell Mooney wide open in the end zone, scored the winning touchdown, and they end up beating Philadelphia. So congratulations to them. We talked about Baker exacting his revenge for that playoff loss last year against Detroit. Tampa looked good. They got some heat on them. Evans and Godwin especially having a monster game, kind of exposed Detroit a little bit against the pass. That's what worries me with Detroit going up against Arizona this Sunday. Kyler Murray, he's a little more mobile than Baker, although maybe not that much. Baker still has some wheels, apparently, with that quarterback drop for a touchdown. Worries me about the Lions a little bit. We're going to see what they're made of going on the road for the first time this year, facing a little bit of adversity after punking that loss to Tampa Bay. We'll keep that obviously one eye on that, being from Detroit Lion country. But kudos to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're 2-0 right now, leading their division, along with the New Orleans Saints. Wow, what an ass whooping they put on Dallas. Dallas, are they a fraud? I mean, they get all the pub, being America's team. They're going to get the spotlight. No doubt about it. They always do. Dak got his money a week ago right before the Cleveland game. They went out and beat a Cleveland team that, again, you don't know what team's going to show up there. The team that stunk to join up or the team that beat Jacksonville on Sunday with a comeback win. I don't get it. But New Orleans looked good. Derek Carr, the Saints, 6 touchdowns on 6 drives. Absolutely amazing. Congratulations to the New Orleans Saints. They're 2-0. They're tied with Atlanta they're on top with Tampa Bay in the NFC South. That's awesome. The Saints could be somebody to be reckoned with. Are they the best team in the league? Who knows? In Carolina, oh boy, that's rough. They look rough. The Chargers really opened up a can on them too. And Bryce Young is benched for Andy Dalton. We'll talk a little bit about that later on. Yeah, that's it's ugly. I don't see the direction. They look like a rudderless ship right now to the Carolina Panthers, and it's only 2 games into the regular season. And boy, oh boy, you're already hearing the Quentin Ewers whispers or the Shedeur Sanders whispers in Carolina. Do they want to go down that road again? Wow, they're a mess. They've got to be one of the worst franchises in pro sports right now, from ownership on down. It is ugly in Carolina. All right, let's go to the NFC West. We talked about that with Arizona taking on an LA team already dinged up in week 1, losing Nakura. Now they lose Cooper Kupp. and they lost their ass against Arizona. 41-10, I think was the final score in that one or something like that. Arizona looked so strong in that game. They looked good against Buffalo. They didn't win on the road against Buffalo. That was a great game. They had a chance. They went down for the tying drive towards the end, but got it intercepted. But they made no mistake at home against the Rams. All of a sudden, the Rams now are 0-2, beset with a ton of injuries. We'll have to keep an eye on that as they look to try to right the ship to the Rams. But boy, oh boy, they are banged up. No Cooper Kupp, no Nakua. Their offensive line is decimated. Matt Stafford's going to have to work miracles again as he's faced with an 0-2 start. And they got a big game against San Francisco coming up at home this Sunday. So boy, oh boy, two desperate teams potentially trying to fend off injuries. San Francisco, we talked about them. They lost to Minnesota on the road. They're now 1-1. They've got injury concerns with McCaffrey out, Deebo Samuel now out on the IR. They're losing some of their playmakers. Brock Purdy, we're going to see what he's made of now as the starting quarterback for San Francisco. I know we've said it a lot, but we're going to see what he's made of as they're going to take on Los Angeles. Finally, in the NFC East, we talked about Philadelphia. Let's touch on that for a second. You listen to the talk radio hosts, you listen to the callers, you listen to the fans. It's really split 50-50 who you blame that on. Would you have thrown that play on 3rd down and 2? He was wide open. I would have done it. You had him fooled. I know they could have. Hindsight is so funny. Hindsight is so 2020. Do you run Saquon Barkley twice up the middle? Do you do the tush push? You eat up clock. You take the safe way out, then you kick the field goal potentially. But Saquon was wide open on that swing pass. There was nobody out there. That's a pass that you catch 100% of the time. 99 out of 100, you maybe, and I'm sorry, but Barkley should have caught that. It wasn't that bad of a play call. But here's my question with Philadelphia in that Monday night game too. This is where I put the blame on Vic Fangio. He gets all the colors. He gets all the flowers. He gets all the accolades. Why didn't they put any heat on Kirk Cousins? The man is not mobile. They didn't blitz him. They didn't blitz in the opening week against Green Bay either. I know that's not their MO, but when you've got an immobile quarterback like that, why are you not putting the heat on? I just don't get it. Philadelphia deserved to lose that game, and Nick Sirianni, I don't know. I just head scratching to begin with, to say the least. So there's a quick look at the NFL. At the NFC. We're going to take a break. We come back. We will take a look at the AFC right here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on 12 Ounce Sports and Dingo TV channel 217. Welcome back, everybody, to the Captain Lou Extravaganza. We are live here on 12 Ounce Sports and Dingo TV channel 217. You can also follow us on all of our social media platforms. Follow me on X at Real Captain Lou. Follow 12 Ounce Sports as well on X, Facebook, the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Be a part of our Facebook page there, or follow my personal page, Lewis Gamlin. Drop me an email anytime, sweetlou1965 at yahoo.com. We're on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channels. That's where all of my content is as well as 12 Ounce Sports, the ACHA Power Play, the Captain Lou Champions of Sports History, you name it. All of my shows are on those platforms right there. And of course, as always, here on 12 Ounce Sports and live on Dingo TV, channel 217. All right, let's take a walk over to the AFC as we continue our breakdown of week 2. The AFC East, Buffalo knocks off Tua and knocks him out. Tua and Miami. Tua's going to be out at least 4 games. He's on the IR with that concussion. Again, everybody's going to talk about it now. Should he retire? Is he going to retire? It's easy to tell a professional athlete to retire. I know a lot of former players are saying, take the money, it's guaranteed, and go. I'm not going to do that. I'm not in the man's shoes. It's easy for me to tell someone to retire. I look at myself with my real job. I'm getting to that point right now. A couple of years was my goal, but as it gets closer, you think, I could probably go 1 more year, maybe 2, because the money's pretty good, and it's like, now his is guaranteed, mine's not. But if I work, I get paid. If I don't work, I can't sit home and collect. I mean, I have my retirement, but, so obviously I'm not working with a concussion, although some people might think I am. But it's easy for Tua. It's easy for us to tell Tua to retire. He's not gonna, unless the NFL kind of puts the kibosh to that, and I don't see that happening with the way people can do lawsuits. So we'll keep an eye on that. But anyways, Buffalo now asserts themselves. That's a big win on the road in Miami. So they don't have to go down to South Florida now. So they're 2-0. The Jets, they get off the schneid. They beat the Jets, or they beat the Titans, rather. Not a great game, but you know what? They won. Again, there's another team. I don't know why the Titans didn't pressure Aaron Rodgers more than they did, but the Titans aren't a very good team, so it doesn't surprise me. And then you've got the Patriots giving the Seahawks a run. So, but they didn't win. Seattle now is 2-0. We forgot to talk about them. Again, Geno Smith doing Geno Smith things, leading Seattle to a winning record. So they're 2-0 right now in the NFC or the NFC South or West. They're leading that division. Who would have thought they would be on top? The Patriots at 1-1, a strong showing at home, almost pulled it off, but they're 1-1 right now. Going a little further over to the AFC North, Pittsburgh, again, that defense is absolutely amazing. A big win for them. They're 2-0. They're looking strong. They've got Denver coming to town, I believe, this week, if I'm not mistaken on that one. And I can't. No, I take that back. Denver's going to play Tampa Bay, but I think, they've got the Chargers coming to town. That's going to be a dandy, a matchup of 2-0 teams. We'll see if they can keep it going with Justin Fields at the quarterback. If Russell Wilson is healthy, do you put him in? I say no. I say keep Fields in as long as you can. I think he's just the better right now, the better athlete, the better just all around than Russell Wilson. And he's winning. You go with the hot hand. So congratulations to them. Baltimore, with my apologies to Dave Kurtz, the number 1 Baltimore Ravens fan that I know. Yeah, I just don't get it. How do you choke that one away? And again, why are you not feeding Derrick Henry the ball? 5 carries, I think. Did I see that right? Did I read that right? Or did I hear that right? Why are they not giving him the ball? I just don't get it. And I know the penalties have killed Baltimore, but you can't take anything away from the Raiders. Big win for them over Baltimore on the road after losing on the road to the Chargers. So there's 2 wins or 2 games already on the road for the Raiders. They're 1-1. And I'm sure if you're a Raiders fan, you're happy with that because you split. Now you can go home. Cincinnati, boy, did they lose a heartbreaker to Kansas City. You can say what you want about that PI call. It was interference. Some people say it's like calling a foul in the last 30 seconds in an NBA game or calling a hook in the last couple of minutes of a hockey game. You don't do it. Well, it was pretty blatant. I know, and I don't have a skin in this game. I'm not a Bengals guy. I'm not a Kansas City Chief guy. But he threw it up for grabs. They did the smart thing. They still had 3 timeouts left. They drew the penalty. They got the penalty call. Then they went down and they kicked the field goal. Harrison Butker with the 51-yard field goal. Cincinnati snake bit now coming off an embarrassing loss to the Patriots. They come and they play Kansas City hard. They're going to be wounded. They're going to be scowling this weekend. They're 0-2. They're going to try to right the ship. But Cincinnati 0-2. And Cleveland giving the Jags their second loss. We got some surprising 0-2 teams right now in the NFL. Cleveland, of course, making the Jags 0-2 as well. And we talked about the AFC South, Houston separating themselves big time. They got a 2-game lead already in the NFC South or AFC South. I mean, they took care of Chicago. They did what they had to do at home. That was our push on the Captain Lou six-pack challenge. Of course, I lost that Philadelphia game against Atlanta, but that was our push. It was a 6-point spread. Yeah, that does. But they're 2-0, and they look strong. They go to Minnesota this week. That's going to be an interesting matchup between two undefeated teams. That's going to be a fun game to watch. There's going to be some points scored in that one. Keep an eye on that one. Indy loses one. Maybe they should have won in Green Bay. The reason I say that, you don't know what Malik Willis has got. He was in Tennessee, of course, traded for a 7th-round draft pick to be Jordan Love's backup. He did what he had to do. He stepped in and he won. So congratulations to Green Bay. They're 1-1. We talk about Jacksonville losing to Cleveland. They're 0-2. I could see, maybe losing that game at Miami, but a Cleveland team that you just don't know who's going to show up. They've got the talent. They didn't look particularly strong, but they're like the Titans. They're kind of in nowheresville right now. So those two teams, or all three of those teams, Indy, Jacksonville, and Tennessee, are all 0-2. They're 2 games behind Houston. I don't know what to make of that. That's crazy. Finally, the AFC West, Kansas City, we talked about it. They escaped with a last-second win over the Cincinnati Bengals with that field goal win. They're 2-0. Winning teams, good teams win those games. Championship teams, they say you can't win the championship in September, but you can lose it. Well, they didn't lose it. They won it. They're 2-0. Tied with the LA Chargers. They went to Carolina. They put a thumping on Carolina, which isn't saying a whole lot, but it's a road win nonetheless. They win the games that are on their schedule. They're 2-0. They go to 2-0. Pittsburgh does Arizona. So the Chargers. So that's going to be interesting. The Raiders bounce back nicely, as we talked about, winning a huge game in Indianapolis, or winning a huge games. So that's going to be fun to watch. And Denver looking weak. I don't know what to make of that. I really don't know what to make of that one. So that's going to be interesting to find out as well. So yeah, that's kind of a look at the matchups for week 2, kind of a rundown. Let's, so we talk about some of the surprising teams. We talk about some of the, 0-2 teams, the surprising 2-0 teams. You got to go with Pittsburgh. When you're starting, you don't know who your starting quarterback's going to be until a day before the opening of the season because of injury. You got Justin Fields. It's not like he's never started a game, but a brand new system. They're 2-0. The Houston Texans, I don't know if that's real surprising. The Chargers, yeah, that's a mild surprise, but you didn't know how bad Carolina, they were that bad, and the Raiders are the Raiders. But we'll give them credit. And the Minnesota Vikings, I didn't think they'd be 2-0, but they won 2 games. They look very strong on the road, obviously, against the Giants. And then how about the New Orleans Saints? They've got to be the surprise team at 2-0 in the National Football League. Who would have thought that they would have went into Dallas and opened up the can of whoop ass that they opened up, and they sure did that. So, yeah, that's and surprising 0-2 teams. The Rams, probably because of their injuries. I didn't think they'd lose this weekend against Arizona, but they did. Some of the other surprising 0-2 teams, I'd have to say probably the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Baltimore Ravens. All 3 of them, especially the Ravens. I thought for sure they're going to beat the Raiders. I really did. That's a disappointing loss right there at home. Take nothing away from the Raiders, but that was a home game. Those are games you should win. If you want to be a championship level team, those are the kind of games you lose those, they're going to bite you in the ass on the way back. Cincinnati, they always start out slow. I don't know why I'm surprised. they're 0-2, but I am, and it's kind of crazy. So yeah, um, kind of the surprising 2-0 teams and 0-2 teams. Taking a look at some of the big games coming up in this weekend in the NFL real quick. The games pitting teams that are undefeated. Well, we talk about that real quick, and you talk about it. You've got the game between Minnesota and Houston right off the top. That's a CBS game, 1 o'clock. That's going to be a dandy in Minnesota. And a matchup again of two undefeated teams. Let's see if I can scroll down to that one. Is that the only? We've got two. Los Angeles and Pittsburgh. We just talked about that. The Chargers and the Steelers. So you're going to have a couple of undefeated teams after that. There are some more undefeated teams. Monday night games are stinkers. Jacksonville at Buffalo. Washington at Cincinnati. Blah. Then the Sunday night game is going to be good. Kansas City at Atlanta. Atlanta 1-1. Kansas City 2-0. San Francisco at the Rams. That's going to be an interesting game. How about Baltimore and Dallas? At Dallas, 4:25 start. Baltimore 0-2. Dallas 1-1. Dallas looked so bad on Sunday against the Saints. Baltimore's going to come in PO'd after losing 2 games. 2 games they should have won. First game to Kansas City, they lost by that much, literally, with that foot over the line. And in the second game, of course, they lose to the Raiders, blowing that lead. So they're going to come in. We're going to see what they're made of. You talk about a scalded dog coming into your pen. Dallas has got the Baltimore Ravens coming in, and that's going to be ugly for sure. All right, real quick before we go to break, here's the Captain Lou NFL Extravagance 6. I'm going with Buffalo, number 1. Big win on the road against Miami. I know they were depleted with Tua towards the end of the game, but that was a huge win. 2 big wins. That win against Arizona looking bigger now at home. Houston at 2. I know Chicago's not a very good team, but they won in Indianapolis in convincing fashion. Then they win against Chicago. I'm giving Houston the number 2 spot. Kansas City, I'll put them at 3. That's a game they probably should have lost, but they won. As I mentioned, championship teams find ways to win. They're 2-0, looking strong. I'm putting New Orleans at 4. The way they went in to Dallas on the road, they don't win games on the road like that against playoff teams. They went in there and just dismantled them. Derek Carr, Dennis Allen, all they've heard is how bad they are, how overhyped they are. Well, maybe the overhyped team is Dallas. Definitely Dallas overhyped. I'm putting Minnesota at 5, undefeated team there. And again, they look good with Sam Darnold. And how about Baker Mayfield? Tampa Bay, got to put them 6. There you go. All right, that's going to do it. We're going to take another break as far as the NFL goes. Still to come, our Captain Lou 6-Pack Challenge. We're going to take a quick look at the college football landscape, and then we'll get into our Captain Lou 6-Pack Challenge and take a quick look at the MLB standings. You're watching the Captain Lou Extravaganza. It's live here on 12 Ounce Sports and Zingo TV, Channel 2, or Dingo TV, Channel 217. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Again, can't say it enough. The best place to go for tickets right now is 12ouncesports.com/tickets. We are a ticket broker. I say it every time, every week. We don't charge those fees you see on some of those other sites, those secondary market sites. You want to go watch college football this weekend, you're making your last minute plans. We got the tickets for you. You want to go to week 3 of the NFL? You want to go, if you're in Arizona, you want to go watch the Lions take on the Cardinals in a big matchup? 12ouncesports.com/tickets. It's that simple. Can't say it enough. Very easy to use. That's tickets.12ounceport. 12ouncesports.com/tickets. Use the promo code 12ounce too, and you might save yourself a little bit more as well. All right. Let's give you the college football top 10 right now. You've got Texas, the new number 1 team. They look strong against Michigan on the road. They're at number 1 right now, and Arch Manning came in for the injured Quentin Ewers. 5 touchdowns. Quarterback controversy? They're saying not yet. We'll keep an eye on that one down the road. Georgia at number 2, Ohio State 3. Alabama going into Badgerland, Camp Randall. You talk about making a statement. Alabama. I don't care. You go into Big Ten country, especially to Wisconsin. That is a tough place to play. You put a 42 spot up on Wisconsin, you're doing something right. Jalen Milroe, he's all of a sudden put himself back into the Heisman talk. 4 touchdown passes there. He looked pretty strong against the Badgers. So congratulations to Alabama. Ole Miss 5. Tennessee with a 65-point lead at halftime. They're at number 6. They're going to take on Oklahoma this weekend in an SEC matchup. Still got to kind of soak that in for a minute with Oklahoma in the SEC. But yeah, that's an SEC matchup at Oklahoma. Number 6 Tennessee against number 15 Oklahoma. Missouri 7, big win for them over Boston College as they try to, justify their ranking in the top 10. Miami at 8, and you got Oregon making a statement. That was a big win. They were a 16.5-point favorite. I get it, going to Corvallis against Oregon State. But Oregon State, they play tough against Oregon. And, they felt slighted with that Big 12 or that, losing the Pac-12 and not getting an invite. Well, Oregon didn't feel sorry for them. They went up there and put a 49 spot on, trying to justify their ranking as they get ready for Big Ten play. And then number 10, Penn State. They were off this week. So they start Big Ten play here coming. Or actually, they've got another off week, if you will, as they take on a Kent State team that just gave 70-some points up to Tennessee. So there's the college football top 10 right there. And games pitting matchups of ranked teams. Let's go right here locally, just down the road here in Michigan, down to Ann Arbor. Number 11, USC. Number 18, Michigan. Big news coming out of Ann Arbor. They're going to bench Davis Warren. Alex Orji is going to be the starting quarterback. The big question, okay, we get it. You're going to start Orji. I don't blame you. Why announce it on Monday? I don't know. I guess I don't understand that logic. Why give USC 5 days to prepare for it? I don't know if it's going to make that much of a difference against USC. This Miller Moss bringing his game to the Big Ten and to Ann Arbor. It's going to be a good matchup. I think USC is a 5.5-point favorite on the road in Ann Arbor. So it's going to be a matchup of 2 top 25 teams. Is Michigan worthy of their number 18 ranking? I don't know. That loss to Texas is starting not to look so bad as they're the new number 1 ranked team in the country, but they've got problems on offense. And now Colston and Loveland's hurt. I don't know if he's going to go on Saturday. That would be a monumental loss for Michigan and Alex Orji if he can't go, because he's their lifeline right now on offense with that porous blocking. I just don't know. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. Utah and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State hosting Utah. Cam Rising, I don't know if he's going to play. That's a big matchup in the Big 12. Keep an eye on that one. And we talked about it, Tennessee and Oklahoma taking on each other in an SEC matchup. And then Friday night, if you would have told me this game in September matched 2 ranked teams in the top 25, being Nebraska and Illinois at the beginning of the year, I'd have said you're crazy. But hey, they're there. They're both undefeated. Nebraska looking strong. Dominic Raiola with that big win over Colorado. He kept it going last weekend. And hey, Illinois, they're ranked 23 against 24 Friday night to start the weekend out. Big Ten play. Should be a fun game to keep an eye on Friday night. And real quick, kudos, sticking with the Big Ten, kudos to Indiana going out to the Rose Bowl and just dismantling UCLA. Now, I know UCLA isn't one of their better teams of all time, barely going to Hawaii and winning, but that was a business trip. Indiana treated it as such, and they went out and they pummeled them. I mean, pummeled UCLA. So, kind of a kind of a cool side note. If the Big Ten championship game were this Saturday, it'd be Indiana and Michigan State. I know it's early, but I just wanted to bring that up. Me being a Michigan guy, I'm giving Michigan State the flowers. That's going to be an interesting matchup too, non-conference matchup on the ACC network on Saturday night. Michigan State and Boston College. I'm telling you, keep an eye on Aiden Childs and Nick Marsh. They are a fun duo to watch. They're going to give Michigan State a lot of highlights and their fans a lot of thrills. Real quick, before we go to the Captain Lou six-pack challenge, interesting note that came out yesterday. Tennessee announced that they're going to charge a talent fee on top of their ticket prices starting next year to kind of help offset the prices. You know, it's coming real soon where the colleges are going to have to pay the players. The players are going to get more than just a stipend. They're going to get paid directly by the universities. I think this is going to be the blueprint for what's going to happen. The ticket prices are going to go up. You know, my question is a PR move. I mean, they're being honest. They're charging it. You think, well, maybe we'll just jack the prices up. We won't mention it, that it's a talent fee. You've already got the licensing fee for the seats. I get it. It's just not, and I'm not trying to be, you know, with my head in the sand. The players are going to get paid. They got to come up with the money somewhere. 20 million per whatever isn't going to be enough for all athletics. I get it. But why don't you just jack the prices up and not call it that? People seeing that might be the trigger for some folks not to renew their season tickets next year. I don't know. But college sports are getting just like the pros now, pricing their way out of the normal Joe as far as being able to afford a ticket. You know, I look at the Lions. I love the Lions. But when you're thinking you're getting a bargain paying $250 a ticket, bring a family of four. We've talked about it a million times. A week's salary now for some people, a month, you know, a week's salary to go to a Lions game or a college football game when you figure parking and, you know, food and all that, you're looking at spending $1,200 to $1,500 for a family of four. I digress. Let's get back to something fun. All right. It's time now. Well, let's take a quick break. We got time for a break. Let's take a quick break. We're going to take a quick 45-second break to catch our breath. And after that, it's the Captain Lou six-pack challenge right here on 12 Ounce Sports and Dingo TV channel 217. All right, everybody, it's time. Welcome back to the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on 12 Ounce Sports and Dingo TV channel 217. It's that time. It's time to enter the six-pack challenge. The Captain Lou six-pack challenge, week number 4 is upon us. It's on the bottom of the screen, what you can do to become a part of the contest. Email your picks, sweetlou1965 at yahoo.com. That's sweetlou1965 at yahoo.com. Or follow me on X at The Real Captain Lou. You can DM me your picks or leave them there. Or put them on Facebook at the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page or Lewis Gamlin. It is that simple. Real quick, we talked about it. 1-4-1 last week. I'm sitting right now at the year 5-12-1. Cold as ice. Horrible week last week. You strike while the iron is hot is all I'm saying. Because once I get rolling, I'm like that little engine that could, and I won't be stopped. So if I was you, this is the time of year. You can enter as many weeks as you want. It's that simple. I'm going to pick 3 games against the spread, college and pro each. If you think you can pick those games better than me, you have to use the same point spread as I've got right now. Then you get those picks in. No purchase nexus, no purchase necessary. I'm having as hard a time trying to pronounce it as I am giving you the picks. So be a part of it. It's a lot of fun. You can win some great prizes. We got a $100 Visa gift card we're giving away. More announced prizes to come starting in October. So without any further ado, let's get to that first pick. We're going to start with college right now. We talked about it. Oklahoma State versus Utah. I like the home dog in this one. Cam Rising may not play. Oklahoma State 14th ranked. They're a 2.5-point dog at home. I'm going to take the Cowboys. I'm going to take Mike Gundy. Kind of a big mouth, but I like it. I'll take Oklahoma State plus 2.5. I keep them rolling in the Big 12. I know Utah is the favorite to win that conference and get the automatic bid into the playoff, but give me Oklahoma State in that one, plus 2.5. Sticking with the home dog theme, Tennessee, yeah, they put 75 points up or 85 or whatever it was against Kent State, 65 at halftime. No running clock in college football. Well, forget about that. They're going to Oklahoma to take on the 15th ranked Sooners. The Sooners hear all the clippings about they got no defense. They don't belong in the SEC. They're now with the big boys. They're at home. They're getting 7 points at home against Tennessee. They may lose that game, but they're getting 7. Give me the Sooners. Boomer Sooner. Jim Ross, good old JR. Give me the Sooners plus 7 against Tennessee. And finally, we'll go to the big house. Michigan and USC. Breaks my heart to do this. Michigan's got Alex Orji starting at quarterback. Can't do any worse than what Davis Warren's done. I don't know if all of that is warranted. Michigan's offensive line is porous. Their running game, they're finding their identity. But they don't have the time to do that. Their identity got squashed against Texas a couple of weeks ago. This USC team has a little bit of defense. Lincoln Riley, of course, not known for his defensive prowess, but he's got a good quarterback in Miller Moss. Moss, I'm telling you, he could make a lot of USC fans forget about Caleb Williams real quickly because Caleb didn't win those big games. This is what I consider a big game. This is a statement game for both teams. If there was ever an opportunity for Michigan to even entertain a thought of going to the college football playoff, they can't lose they can lose one more game. They're not going to win at Ohio State, and I doubt they're going to beat Oregon. This is a game Michigan has to have. And if you're USC, you want to prove to the naysayers that you can go cross country and win a game on the road in the Big Ten against a quality opponent. No, this isn't one of Michigan's better teams. I don't even think they deserve to be ranked 18th. I'm taking USC, spotting Michigan 5.5 on Saturday at 3:30. It's going to be on CBS. Yeah, USC. I'll take USC laying the 5.5. All right, to the NFL. First game up, the Rams hosting San Francisco. Both teams injury riddled. Debo's out. CMC is out. Puka Nukua's out. Cooper Kupp's out. I'm out. Except I'm taking the Rams. A 7-point dog at home. Give me the Rams plus 7 against San Francisco at home all day long. This is going to be, you've talked about a wounded team mentally to the Rams. This is a big game for them. They can't afford to start 0-3. They're at home. Give me the Rams plus 7. Tampa Bay, starting to make a believer out of me. I fell for the Sean Payton hype last week in Pittsburgh. I put a couple of shackles on, or Denver. I put a couple of shackles thinking Denver could win. They looked horrible. They look lost. Now, I know Bo Nix is a rookie. I get it. They're not a very good team. They're going into a situation now. It's going to be hot down in Tampa. Baker's hot. The Buccaneers are hot. Tampa's hot. This looks like my lock of the week right here. Give me Tampa at home, minus 6.5 against Denver. And finally, Cincinnati and Washington. I don't know why, but Cincinnati's a 7.5-point favorite at home against Washington. Oh, I know why they're favored. But I don't know why I'm picking this game. I just think, I know they're slow starters. Cincinnati, you talk about a team that needs a win like the Rams. The Bengals need a win in the worst way. They're pissed. They think they got robbed against Kansas City. They're going to take it out on Washington. Give me the Bengals, -7.5 against Washington. All right, real quick. Here's the Captain Lou 6-pack challenge picks for week number 4. 5-12-1 on the season, 1-4-1 last week. Strike while the iron's hot is all I'm telling you. But I feel pretty good about these picks right here. Give me Oklahoma State +2.5 at home versus Utah. I'm taking Oklahoma and the 7 at home against Tennessee. I'm taking USC -5.5 on the road at Michigan. On the pro side, I'm taking the Rams +7 against the 49ers. I'm taking Tampa Bay -6.5 at home versus Denver. And give me Cincinnati at home. I'll lay the 7.5 against Washington. All right, real simple. Go to email your picks, sweetlou1965@yahoo.com. Follow me on X, put them there, @TheRealCaptainLou, or follow our Facebook pages, the Captain Lou Extravaganza or Lewis Gamlin. It's that simple, and that's where you'll go to put your picks. All right, we got a few minutes left of the program here. Let's talk a little baseball as the pennant races are heating up, and let's take a look at the MLB standings as we're closing in on the end of the year. A week and a half left. The New York Yankees have opened up a 4-game lead on Baltimore, and Boston, forget about it. They're done. In the American League Central, the Guardians now a 5-game lead over Kansas City, 6.5 over the Twins. The Twins won last night against Cleveland. The Tigers 8 out. That wild card race is shaping up this way. Kansas City with a 3-game lead over the Tigers for the 2nd spot. Minnesota with a 1.5 lead over Detroit for that last playoff spot. The Twins hold the tiebreaker. Heck, Detroit now is only 5.5 out of the wild card spot, the number 1 wild card spot. I don't think that's attainable, but the Tigers are on a roll. Like we mentioned about 3.5 weeks ago, they were 8.5 games out, didn't have a prayer. All of a sudden, they're right in the thick of it. They've got the season finale again, or their last game of the season against Kansas City tonight. Tariq Skubal going for the Tigers, who's going to be the 2024 Cy Young Award winner. Houston with a 5-game lead on Seattle. Seattle is 3.5 out of that wild card spot in the American League. All right, in the National League, the Phillies with an 8-game lead on the Mets, 10 on the Braves. So that means the Mets have a 2-game lead on that wild card spot. They're now tied with the Arizona Diamondbacks for that 2nd spot. The Mets playing really, really well right now. The Braves hanging on for dear life for any hope. 2 games out of the final wild card spot. The Brewers, their magic number to clinch a playoff spot is 1. They've got a 10-game lead over the Cubbies and 11 over St. Louis. And the Dodgers, they've got a 3.5-game lead over the Padres, 6 now on the Diamondbacks. The Padres with the number 1 wild card spot, as we mentioned, and a tie between the Diamondbacks and the Mets for the 2nd and 3rd spot. The Braves are 2 games back. All right, we are on the Shohei watch, closing in on 50-50. I think 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. I think he's just a couple of stolen bases shy, and I think he's just 1 home run shy. A week and a half to go. We'll keep an eye on that. All right, getting back to the NFL real quick. We got about 90 seconds left. We mentioned it. Bryce Young benched this weekend. It's going to be Andy Dalton starting for Carolina. What a mess in Carolina right now. How long does Andy Dalton stay starting for the Carolina Panthers? And it sounds like Justin Fields is going to hang on, and he's going to be a starter in Pittsburgh. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Injuries, we talked about it. Tua's on the IR. He's going to be out 4 games, concussion protocol. Deebo Samuel is out. Christian McCaffrey out. And again, Cooper Kupp out for the Rams. So keep an eye on those as well. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Don't forget, enter the Captain Lou 6-pack challenge. We've mentioned it. Watch a replay of it on our YouTube channels, or you can archive it as well on 12ouncesports.com. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Enjoy the sports. Keep an eye out on the Major League Baseball standings. It's getting that time of year. A week and a half to go, and the regular season is over. All right, that's going to do it. The Captain Lou Extravaganza for everybody here. We thank you for bringing us into your homes, on your computers and whatnot. Have a great week, everybody. Captain Lou saying, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. Have a great week, everybody.